Thank you so much. Thank you for having me back. I appreciate you listening to me right now. Now you might be thinking, my goodness, last week, all right, calm down there, you guys. Last week, Pete Dobson told us that we could look into the future just 1 week, and we could see people stealing from one another. How does he do it? What kind of wizardry is this? Well, it's not wizardry. It's just normal. Right? This is easy. We all do it. We can all see it. And lo, it has happened. You guys may have heard of there were two British Bitcoin traders. And they became the victims of what the local media outlets were calling the UK's first Bitcoin heist. After they were robbed at gunpoint by masked men and forced to transfer an undisclosed amount of cryptocurrency into the criminals' accounts. The incident that took place on January 22nd, okay, so this was just a few days ago. And these are real people. It occurred in a tiny village of Molesford, Oxfordshire, where the cryptocurrency trader Danny Aston and his girlfriend Amy J lived with their infant. They lived there with their infant, a baby. Okay, there's a number of stories, a number of crimes that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to do this in an effort so that we can all better protect ourselves. I want to make this very clear to everyone that in no way is this to glorify criminals. All right. Now, one thing that is a sort of a reoccurring theme throughout human history. It's not a constant, but it does happen, and it happens all throughout written history, is we seem to enjoy the tales that glorify criminals, right? In the 1990s, which most of you guys out there, not everybody, I've got some young listeners who write in, but for people that were self-aware in the 1990s, meaning you were older than 12 or 13 years old, you remember that there were some movies that came out that won a lot of awards by Martin Scorsese and a few others that glorified criminals. And they did very well. For some reason, this type of story resonates with people very well. Also in the 90s, there was a new form of hip-hop music that came out called gangster rap. And there were people that would write these complicated rhyme schemes, which is always enjoyable, for me anyways. But the subject matter, what they were talking about was hurting innocent people for money, mostly. And that resonated with the people. So there's something in us as a society that wants to understand that sort of lifestyle in a way that is admirable. I don't know why. We can look back in American history and we can see Jesse James. Now Jesse James, even in his time, right? He was a guy that lived, and during his life, as he was going around just murdering people and stealing money, there were some writers that came along, writers as in people who write words for a living. There were writers that came along and they told the story of this sort of Robin Hood of the Wild West. And that's how Jesse James got portrayed to the American people. There were people who gave him hero worship. It's strange because the guy was actually a horrible human being. And he murdered innocent people, and he did it for money. Now, I want to point this out because since it reoccurs throughout history, and since I gave you two examples of different media platforms, movies and music, sort of presented this product to a society, the people ate it up. It's important to realize that if it can have that big of a push sociologically, then we have to then consider the idea that perhaps whatever that is, whatever defect that is, that it is in all of us.